Ayabo was a fixture in the rowdy market of Lagos, her stall a beacon of savory smells and friendly chatter. For years, her AKARA, deep-fried bean cakes, were the stuff of legend. People traveled from far and wide, swearing that Ayabos were the best they'd ever tasted. Her customers, a mix of business moguls, street vendors, and humble families, attributed her success to a secret blend of spices passed down through generations. They didn't know the truth. Her secret was far more sinister, a power she had stumbled upon in a forgotten corner of a spiritual market. It was a potent concoction made from the remains of certain animals, blessed under a specific moon phase, and mixed into a fine powder. This powder, when added to the bean batter, didn't just enhance the flavor, it subtly enhanced the consumer's compliance. It made them more agreeable, more willing to follow her suggestions, more susceptible to her growing influence. Ayabo wasn't just selling a snack, she was selling obedience, one delicious bite at a time. The unsuspecting customers left her store feeling satisfied, their minds a little more open to whatever she might whisper to them next. Her initial use of the powder was small-scale and harmless. She would sprinkle a little into the bean batter to ensure a good day of sales, subtly influencing customers to buy a few extra pieces of AKARA. She discovered its true potential by accident when she convinced a stubborn market inspector to overlook a minor violation with a simple, buttery taste of her product. The inspector, who had been a terror to every vendor, suddenly became her most ardent supporter. The following week, she convinced a rival vendor to give up their prime spot, claiming her own store needed more space. The woman, who had held the spot for decades, agreed with a strange, blank smile. Ayabo's wealth and influence grew exponentially. She opened multiple stalls, employed a small army of vendors, and even began to supply her special AKARA to high-end restaurants and corporate cafeterias. Her name became synonymous with success, and her reputation as a shrewd businesswoman blossomed. But beneath the surface, a darker ambition took root. She started to see her customers not as people, but as puppets on a string, their will a pliable thing she could bend to her own desires. Ayabo's ambitions soon outgrew the market. She set her sights on a powerful political figure, Chief Adewale, who was known for his unyielding nature and ruthless business dealings. He was the biggest obstacle in her path to a large-scale land acquisition that would secure her legacy. She knew a direct confrontation would fail, so she devised a plan. She arranged for a delivery of her famous AKARA to his office, disguised as a gift from a grateful constituent. The chief, a man of simple taste despite his immense wealth, was thrilled. He devoured the hot, crispy AKARA, unaware of the subtle mind-altering substance within. The next day, Ayabo met with him, feigning humility and respect. As he spoke, she began to weave her suggestions, not as demands, but as simple, logical ideas. The chief, who had been an immovable object just a day before, found himself agreeing with her. He signed over the land rights, a strange sense of clarity washing over him, believing it was his own brilliant idea to partner with this clever young woman. The ink on the paper was a testament to her newfound power, and her heart swelled with a chilling thrill. With Chief Adewale under her sway, Ayabo's power solidified. She used her influence to manipulate land deals, control supply chains, and even sway judicial rulings. Her AKARA became a tool of social engineering, a subtle way to ensure her will was done. She hosted lavish parties where her bean cakes were the main attraction, serving them to judges, politicians, and business rivals. Unbeknownst to them, they were consuming not just a delicacy, but a dose of her control. Her wealth was unimaginable, her network of allies vast and unshakable. She became an untouchable queen, ruling her empire from a fortified mansion on the hills of Ikoyi. No one questioned her meteoric rise, they simply admired her business acumen and luck. But in the shadows, a few curious minds began to notice a pattern. They saw how people who opposed Ayabo's plans would suddenly have a change of heart after a single encounter. They noticed the uncanny obedience of her staff and the almost fanatical loyalty of her customers. A young, determined journalist named Depo began to investigate Ayabo's success. He was initially skeptical of the rumors but became intrigued when he saw his own father, a fierce critic of Ayabo, suddenly become a staunch defender after attending one of her parties. Depo, an investigative journalist with a keen eye for detail, started to connect the dots. He interviewed former employees of Ayabo's, who spoke of a mysterious, ritualistic process she performed on the bean flour. He tracked down a handful of people who had once been in her inner circle and were now outcast, speaking of a strange, disorienting feeling they had after eating her food. One of them, a retired chef, mentioned seeing Ayabo prepare a peculiar, brownish powder, a powder that smelled of burnt herbs and something else, something metallic and dark. Depo felt a chill run down his spine. The puzzle pieces were beginning to fit together, forming a horrifying picture of a woman who wasn't just a cunning entrepreneur, but a manipulator of minds. Depo, armed with a hidden camera and a recording device, managed to get a job at Ayabo's main AKARA production factory. He spent weeks meticulously documenting her process, waiting for the moment he would catch her in the act. He saw her, one night, alone in a small, hidden room, mixing a strange concoction into the bean flour. He recorded her as she chanted and added the dark, mysterious powder. He saw the gleam of evil in her eyes as she prepared her goods for the next day's unsuspecting customers. As he was about to leave, his foot snagged on a loose wire, alerting her to his presence. Ayabo, her face contorted in a mask of fury, lunged at him. A chase ensued through the factory, with Depo narrowly escaping her grasp. He managed to get away, the evidence of her evil a burning weight in his pocket. He knew he had to get the information out, but he also knew that now, Ayabo knew his face, and his life was in grave danger. Depo raced to the television station, the tape of Ayabo's dark ritual clutched in his hand. He broadcasted his findings live, exposing her secret to the entire nation. The public was shocked and disgusted. The people who had been under her influence slowly awoke from their daze, horrified by the actions they had taken on her behalf. Her empire began to crumble. Her customers, once loyal, now saw her as a monster. Her allies, now free from her spell, turned on her, their former loyalty replaced with a thirst for vengeance. Ayabo, a powerful queen a day before, was now a haunted criminal. The lesson was learned the hard way. Power acquired through manipulation and evil is fleeting. The truth, like a persistent seed, will eventually sprout, no matter how deep it's buried. The people who had tasted her AKARA had unknowingly sold a piece of their will, and their awakening was a painful reckoning. Ayabo was last seen fleeing the country, a shadow of her former self, a stark reminder that true power isn't about control, but about integrity and respect.